Think you know which veggies are safe for diabetics? Think again. Today we're revealing the top 8 worst vegetables diabetics must avoid. And number 5 will shock you. It's something you probably eat every day. Stick around to discover which common foods could be wrecking your blood sugar. Let's dive in. First we have butternut squash. Butternut squash is often considered a nutrient-rich vegetable that provides essential vitamins and minerals. However, for diabetics, it may not be the best choice due to certain properties that can negatively affect blood sugar control. While it is high in fiber and packed with antioxidants, butternut squash also has characteristics that make it problematic for people managing diabetes. One of the major concerns with butternut squash is its carbohydrate content. A single cup of cooked butternut squash contains around 22 grams of carbohydrates, with about 4 grams coming from sugar. For diabetics, this amount of carbs can lead to significant spikes in blood sugar levels, which are difficult to manage. Consuming foods high in carbohydrates can quickly increase blood glucose, making it challenging to keep blood sugar within a safe range. In addition to its carbohydrate content, butternut squash has a moderately high glycemic index, GI. With a GI score around 51, butternut squash can cause blood sugar to rise faster than lower GI vegetables. Diabetics need to prioritize foods with low glycemic indices to prevent these rapid increases in blood glucose levels. The combination of both carbs and a moderate GI makes butternut squash a risky option for those needing to stabilize their blood sugar. Another issue with butternut squash is its natural sweetness. While it doesn't taste as sugary as fruits, it still contains enough natural sugars to potentially disrupt a diabetic's careful balance of glucose. These sugars can be quickly absorbed into the bloodstream, leading to spikes that make blood sugar levels more difficult to control. Over time, frequent blood sugar spikes can worsen insulin resistance, particularly in individuals with type 2 diabetes. Furthermore, the portion size can be deceiving. Butternut squash is often used in soups, casseroles, and roasted dishes, making it easy to consume larger portions without realizing it. Since the carbohydrate content is high, even moderate portions can lead to a carb overload for diabetics. This can cause unintended surges in blood sugar, especially if the meal is not carefully planned with other low-carb foods. Additionally, butternut squash, when cooked, becomes softer and more easily digestible, which can further speed up the rate at which its carbohydrates are absorbed. This quicker digestion process can lead to rapid glucose spikes, making it harder for diabetics to maintain steady blood sugar levels throughout the day. Though butternut squash is rich in vitamins A, C, and potassium, which are beneficial for overall health, the risks for diabetics tend to outweigh these benefits. The high carbohydrate and sugar content can outweigh the positive aspects of this vegetable, especially for those who need to tightly control their blood sugar. Diabetics often need to find alternatives that offer similar nutritional benefits without the risk of glucose spikes. Next, we have carrots. Carrots are often praised for their high vitamin content and overall health benefits, but they might not be as suitable for diabetics as they appear. While rich in vitamins, especially vitamin A and beta-carotene, carrots can have a surprising impact on blood sugar levels, which makes them a concerning choice for people with diabetes. One of the primary reasons carrots can be problematic for diabetics is their carbohydrate content. A medium-sized carrot contains around 6 grams of carbohydrates, with roughly half of that coming from sugars. Although this may seem like a small amount, consuming carrots in larger quantities can quickly add up and result in a significant intake of carbohydrates, potentially spiking blood glucose levels. Carrots also have a relatively high glycemic index, GI, for a vegetable, sitting around 71 when cooked. The glycemic index measures how quickly a food causes blood sugar to rise. Foods with a high GI can lead to faster spikes in blood sugar, which is something diabetics need to avoid. Cooked carrots, in particular, can cause a quicker rise in blood sugar due to their higher GI, making them a less ideal choice for people trying to maintain steady glucose levels. Raw carrots, while lower on the glycemic index compared to cooked ones, still pose a challenge because of their natural sugars. These sugars, like sucrose and glucose, can be absorbed into the bloodstream fairly quickly, leading to potential fluctuations in blood sugar. For diabetics, the goal is often to avoid foods that can cause sudden increases in glucose, and carrots' sugar content can contribute to this. Portion control with carrots can also be tricky. Carrots are often used in salads, soups, and snacks, and it's easy to eat large quantities without realizing the total carb and sugar intake. For a diabetic, consuming even a moderate portion of carrots can push blood sugar levels higher than desired, especially if paired with other carbohydrate-rich foods in a meal. Another issue is that carrots, when juiced, become more concentrated in sugar and lose the fiber that helps slow down sugar absorption. Carrot juice, in particular, is a popular drink, but without the fiber, it can lead to faster glucose spikes, making it even more unsuitable for diabetics who are trying to avoid blood sugar fluctuations. While carrots are packed with beneficial nutrients, such as antioxidants and fiber, the high carbohydrate content and glycemic load can outweigh these benefits for people with diabetes. The rapid conversion of carbohydrates into sugar makes carrots a vegetable that diabetics should consider eating in moderation or avoiding altogether to better manage their blood sugar. Next, we have corn. Corn is a popular vegetable and a staple in many diets, but for diabetics, it may not be the best option. Although it's often viewed as a healthy food, corn contains certain properties that can make it problematic for people trying to manage their blood sugar. For individuals with diabetes, understanding how corn impacts blood glucose levels is crucial for maintaining control over their condition. One of the main issues with corn is its high carbohydrate content. A single cup of corn contains about 30 grams of carbohydrates, with most of these coming from starch. For diabetics, this can quickly turn into glucose in the body, causing blood sugar to rise. Managing carbohydrate intake is essential for diabetics, and corn's starch content can make it difficult to maintain stable glucose levels. Corn also has a high glycemic index, GI, which measures how quickly a food causes blood sugar to rise after eating. With a GI of around 52 for sweet corn and even higher for processed forms like cornmeal or popcorn, corn can cause rapid spikes in blood sugar. Foods with a high GI are known to trigger sudden increases in glucose, making them a risky choice for people with diabetes. Another issue with corn is its glycemic load, GL, which takes into account both the glycemic index and the amount of carbohydrates in a typical serving. Corn's GL is relatively high, meaning it can have a significant impact on blood sugar even in moderate amounts. For diabetics, it's important to keep both GI and GL in check to avoid sharp increases in blood glucose, and corn makes it challenging to do so. In addition to its carbohydrate and glycemic properties, corn is often consumed in ways that can further exacerbate blood sugar problems. Corn products like tortillas, chips, and cornmeal are common in many diets, but they tend to be highly processed. Processed corn products have an even higher glycemic index and can cause blood sugar to rise faster than whole corn, posing an even greater risk for diabetics. Corn is also relatively low in fiber compared to other vegetables. Fiber plays a crucial role in slowing down the absorption of sugar in the bloodstream, helping to prevent blood sugar spikes. Since corn doesn't provide a lot of fiber, it allows glucose to enter the bloodstream more quickly, which can lead to rapid increases in blood sugar, especially for those with diabetes. Another concern is that corn is high in natural sugars. Sweet corn in particular has a sugar content that can add to the overall glucose load in the body. For diabetics, managing sugar intake is a daily challenge, and even natural sugars found in vegetables like corn can contribute to blood sugar fluctuations if consumed in excess. Despite its nutritional benefits, including vitamins and antioxidants, the high carbohydrate and sugar content of corn outweigh its positives for diabetics. The potential for blood sugar spikes, combined with the fact that it is often consumed in processed forms, makes corn a vegetable that diabetics should be cautious about. It's important to prioritize lower-carb, lower-GI vegetables to help maintain balanced glucose levels. Next, we have parsnips. Parsnips, though often considered a healthy and nutritious root vegetable, can present significant challenges for diabetics. They are commonly used in soups, stews, and roasted dishes, offering a sweet and slightly nutty flavor. However, for individuals managing diabetes, parsnips may not be the best choice due to several factors that can negatively affect blood sugar control. One of the primary concerns with parsnips is their high carbohydrate content. A single cup of cooked parsnips contains approximately 24 grams of carbohydrates, with a considerable portion of that coming from natural sugars. For diabetics, consuming foods with high carbohydrate levels can quickly lead to blood sugar spikes, making it difficult to keep glucose levels stable throughout the day. Parsnips also have a relatively high glycemic index, GI, which measures how fast a food causes blood sugar to rise. With a GI of around 52, parsnips can cause a more rapid increase in blood glucose than other low GI vegetables. Diabetics typically need to prioritize foods with a low glycemic index to prevent sudden spikes in blood sugar levels, and parsnips' higher GI makes them a less ideal option. Additionally, parsnips are high in natural sugars, which adds to their glycemic load, GL. The glycemic load takes into account both the glycemic index and the amount of carbohydrates in a serving, indicating the overall impact of the food on blood sugar. Parsnips' high glycemic load means that even small portions can contribute to significant increases in blood sugar, which is particularly problematic for diabetics trying to maintain steady glucose levels. The natural sweetness of parsnips can also be deceiving. While they may not taste as sweet as fruit, the sugars in parsnips can still be absorbed into the bloodstream quickly, leading to potential blood sugar fluctuations. For diabetics, controlling the intake of foods that cause rapid glucose absorption is critical, and parsnips can make that control more difficult. Another issue with parsnips is that they are often consumed in larger portions, especially in dishes like mashed parsnips or roasted root vegetable medleys. This makes it easy to unknowingly consume more carbohydrates than intended, further increasing the risk of a blood sugar spike. Diabetics need to be cautious about portion sizes, and parsnips' relatively high carbohydrate content can make it challenging to limit intake. Parsnips are also lower in fiber compared to some other root vegetables. Fiber helps slow down the absorption of sugars into the bloodstream, which can prevent sudden increases in blood glucose. Since parsnips are not particularly high in fiber, they don't offer much of a buffer to counterbalance their carbohydrate and sugar content, making them more likely to cause blood sugar fluctuations. Despite their nutritional benefits, such as being a good source of vitamins and minerals like potassium and vitamin C, the carbohydrate and sugar content in parsnips can outweigh these positives for diabetics. The risk of blood sugar spikes, combined with the potential for overconsumption, makes parsnips a vegetable that diabetics should approach with caution or consider avoiding. Next, we have peas. Peas are often viewed as a healthy vegetable, but for people with diabetes, they may not be as ideal as they seem. Despite being packed with fiber, protein, and other nutrients, peas have certain characteristics that can negatively affect blood sugar levels. For diabetics who need to closely monitor their glucose levels, Peas may contribute to unwanted spikes in blood sugar. One of the main concerns with peas is their carbohydrate content. A single cup of peas contains about 21 grams of carbohydrates. Since carbohydrates are quickly converted into glucose in the bloodstream, consuming peas can lead to a noticeable rise in blood sugar. Diabetics need to be cautious about how many carbs they consume to avoid sharp increases in glucose, and peas can add up quickly in this regard. Peas also have a moderate glycemic index (GI) score, typically ranging from 48 to 55 depending on the type. Foods with a higher GI cause blood sugar to rise more quickly, and while peas are not as high on the GI scale as some foods, they can still cause a more rapid increase in blood glucose than many other vegetables. For diabetics, maintaining consistent blood sugar levels is critical, and consuming moderate GI foods like peas can interfere with that goal. In addition to their carbohydrate and GI content, peas contain natural sugars, such as sucrose. Even though these sugars occur naturally, they can still contribute to spikes in blood sugar. For diabetics, it's important to be mindful of sugar intake from all sources, and the natural sugars in peas can make them a less ideal choice for those trying to control their glucose levels. Another factor to consider is the glycemic load of peas. The glycemic load takes into account both the glycemic index and the quantity of carbohydrates in a serving, offering a more complete picture of how the food affects blood sugar. Peas have a moderate glycemic load, meaning they can still lead to a significant rise in blood glucose, even if they're eaten in moderate portions. For diabetics, this makes peas a vegetable that should be consumed with caution. Portion size is also a problem when it comes to peas. It's easy to overeat peas since they're often served as a side dish or added to various meals. Whether in soups, stews, or salads, peas can contribute a large amount of carbohydrates to a meal without people realizing it. For diabetics who need to manage their carb intake carefully, consuming too many peas can lead to a higher risk of blood sugar spikes. Processed forms of peas, such as pea-based snacks or purees, can be even more problematic. These processed versions often have a higher glycemic index and can cause a quicker spike in blood sugar compared to fresh or frozen peas. Diabetics are typically advised to avoid processed foods due to their tendency to cause rapid blood glucose fluctuations, and peas in processed forms are no exception. While peas do contain some fiber, which can help slow the absorption of sugars into the bloodstream, the high carbohydrate and sugar content can still outweigh this benefit. Fiber is important for managing blood sugar, but the overall impact of peas on glucose levels can still be significant, making them a less ideal choice for people with diabetes. Next, we have potatoes. Potatoes are one of the most popular and versatile vegetables around the world, but for diabetics, they can pose serious challenges. Despite being a staple in many diets, potatoes have characteristics that make them a problematic choice for individuals managing diabetes. Their high starch content and impact on blood sugar levels can turn this common vegetable into something that may need to be avoided. One of the main reasons potatoes are a concern for diabetics is their high carbohydrate content. A medium-sized potato contains around 37 grams of carbohydrates, which can cause a significant rise in blood sugar levels. For diabetics, keeping carbohydrate intake in check is crucial to maintaining stable glucose levels, and the high carb count in potatoes makes it difficult to avoid spikes after eating them. Potatoes also have a high glycemic index, GI. The glycemic index measures how quickly a food raises blood sugar levels, and potatoes score particularly high on this scale, with values ranging between 70 to 90 depending on the variety and cooking method. This means that consuming potatoes can lead to a rapid increase in blood glucose, which is especially problematic for diabetics who need to avoid sharp spikes and dips in their sugar levels. Another issue with potatoes is their glycemic load, GL, which takes both the GI and the carbohydrate content into account. The glycemic load of potatoes is high, meaning that even moderate portions can have a significant impact on blood sugar. This makes it hard for diabetics to manage their glucose levels, as even small amounts of potatoes can contribute to rapid blood sugar elevation. The way potatoes are prepared can further increase their impact on blood sugar. Cooking methods such as boiling, roasting, or frying can influence how quickly the starch in potatoes is broken down into glucose. For example, mashed potatoes or baked potatoes tend to have a higher glycemic index than boiled potatoes, meaning they can cause blood sugar to rise even faster. Fried potatoes, such as French fries, not only raise blood sugar, but also add unhealthy fats into the mix, making them even more harmful for diabetics. Potatoes also lack significant fiber content compared to other vegetables. Fiber plays a crucial role in slowing down the absorption of sugars into the bloodstream, helping to keep blood sugar levels more stable. Since potatoes are not particularly high in fiber, they do little to slow the rapid absorption of glucose into the bloodstream, making them a poor choice for diabetics looking to keep their blood sugar levels in check. Moreover, potatoes are often consumed in large portions, whether in the form of mashed potatoes, fries, or baked potatoes. This leads to an even greater intake of carbohydrates and a higher likelihood of blood sugar spikes. For diabetics, portion control is key, but with a food like potatoes, it's easy to eat too much and end up consuming far more carbs than intended. Processed potato products, such as potato chips or instant mashed potatoes, can be even worse for diabetics. These foods are often made with added sugars and unhealthy fats, and they tend to have an even higher glycemic index than whole potatoes. Processed potato products can cause blood sugar to rise quickly and make it difficult for diabetics to maintain stable glucose levels. Next, we have pumpkin. Pumpkin is often considered a healthy vegetable due to its rich nutrient content and vibrant color, but for diabetics, it may not be the best choice. Despite its popularity in many dishes, pumpkin has certain properties that can negatively impact blood sugar levels. For individuals managing diabetes, consuming pumpkin can lead to challenges in maintaining stable glucose levels. One of the main concerns with pumpkin is its high carbohydrate content. A cup of cooked pumpkin contains about 12 grams of carbohydrates, which can quickly raise blood sugar levels. Since managing carb intake is essential for diabetics to avoid spikes in glucose, pumpkin can add to the daily carbohydrate limit faster than expected. Another issue with pumpkin is its glycemic index, GI. Pumpkin has a GI of around 75, which is considered high. Foods with a high glycemic index are rapidly digested and absorbed, leading to quick increases in blood sugar levels. For diabetics, consuming high GI foods like pumpkin can cause sudden spikes in glucose, which can be difficult to manage and may contribute to long-term complications. Pumpkin also has a relatively low fiber content compared to other vegetables. Fiber plays a crucial role in slowing down the absorption of sugars into the bloodstream, which helps keep blood sugar levels stable. Since pumpkin lacks significant amounts of fiber, it doesn't provide much of a buffer to slow down the rapid digestion of carbohydrates, leading to quicker increases in blood glucose. Another factor to consider is that pumpkin is often used in processed forms, such as canned pumpkin puree, which is commonly found in recipes. These processed versions may have added sugars and preservatives, further increasing the glycemic load. Diabetics should be particularly cautious of these processed pumpkin products, as they can have an even greater impact on blood sugar compared to fresh or roasted pumpkin. Portion control is another challenge when it comes to pumpkin. It's easy to consume large amounts of pumpkin in dishes like soups, pies, and casseroles, without realizing the impact it has on carbohydrate intake. For diabetics, overeating pumpkin can quickly lead to an excessive intake of carbs, making it difficult to maintain stable blood sugar levels throughout the day. Pumpkin is often combined with other high-carb ingredients in popular dishes, such as pumpkin pie or pumpkin-flavored desserts. These recipes often include added sugars, flours, and other carbohydrates that further elevate the glycemic load of the meal. Even if pumpkin is used in its natural form, diabetics need to be cautious of the overall carbohydrate content of the entire dish. The high water content in pumpkin also contributes to its quick digestion. Foods that are digested rapidly lead to faster spikes in blood sugar, and pumpkin, being mostly water, doesn't slow down this process. For diabetics, this rapid digestion can make it harder to manage post-meal blood sugar levels, which is critical for long-term health management. Last, we have sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes are often hailed as a superfood due to their vibrant color and nutrient density, but for individuals managing diabetes, they can pose significant challenges. While they contain vitamins and minerals, certain properties of sweet potatoes can make them less suitable for those with diabetes. Understanding these properties is crucial for diabetics to maintain stable blood sugar levels. One major concern with sweet potatoes is their high carbohydrate content. A medium-sized sweet potato can contain around 26 grams of carbohydrates. For diabetics, monitoring carbohydrate intake is essential to avoid spikes in blood sugar. Consuming even a moderate portion of sweet potatoes can significantly increase daily carbohydrate intake, making it more challenging to maintain glycemic control. Sweet potatoes also have a moderate glycemic index, GI, ranging from 44 to 94, depending on the cooking method. Foods with a high GI can cause rapid increases in blood glucose levels. Even though sweet potatoes have a lower GI than regular potatoes, they can still lead to substantial spikes in blood sugar, especially if consumed in larger quantities. This can be particularly concerning for diabetics who are trying to stabilize their glucose levels. The glycemic load, GL, of sweet potatoes is another factor to consider. Glycemic load takes into account both the glycemic index and the portion size. Even though sweet potatoes are nutritious, their GL can still be considerable, which means that consuming them in typical serving sizes can lead to significant blood sugar increases. For diabetics, it's vital to be aware of the glycemic load of foods they consume, and sweet potatoes can often exceed safe limits. Furthermore, the way sweet potatoes are prepared can also affect their impact on blood sugar. Cooking methods such as boiling or baking can change their glycemic index, making them more likely to cause spikes in blood sugar. For example, mashed sweet potatoes typically have a higher GI compared to baked or boiled ones, so preparation methods play a crucial role in how they affect glucose levels. In addition to their carbohydrate content, sweet potatoes are often served in high-calorie, high-sugar dishes, like casseroles topped with marshmallows or brown sugar. These preparations can further elevate the carbohydrate load and contribute to a higher glycemic index. For diabetics, indulging in these kinds of sweet potato dishes can lead to severe blood sugar spikes and should be avoided. Portion control is essential when it comes to sweet potatoes. It's easy to underestimate how much is being consumed, especially when they are served as a side dish or in casseroles. Eating a larger portion can quickly lead to an excessive intake of carbohydrates, which is detrimental for individuals managing diabetes. For this reason, diabetics should carefully consider their portion sizes when it comes to sweet potatoes. Despite their health benefits, sweet potatoes may not be the best choice for individuals with diabetes who need to keep their blood sugar levels in check. The balance of carbohydrates, glycemic index, and portion size can make sweet potatoes a risky food item. For those managing diabetes, it's often advisable to choose lower glycemic vegetables that have less impact on blood sugar levels.